at attitude and culture, and sort of how the dynamics behind that, because there is sort of a path you can take on that to make it work for you or to get the improvements. I don't want to say it's a recipe or a cookbook type thing. So we can define culture in many different ways, but it's every company has a culture, and we could say that your company has your culture there. We can decide to develop it, and we can even decide to engineer it by training and so forth. As you could see, going back to the attitude, probably the best way, the biggest way that culture can be developed and worked on is by example and osmosis. So, in other words, through your day, if you exhibit certain behaviors, then your employees will pick that up. Your people will pick that up. And I think probably the example and the employees picking it up and feeding up on that is probably the biggest. It's more effective than one-on-one reviews, than one-on-one conferences, than anything specific you can do. The example you set is sort of becomes the results you get, and that's pretty critical, I think, for you to understand. If you understand that, then it will affect the way that you interact and behave. The other is, how do you measure that? And I'll get to one of those measures in a minute, but that always remains the tricky one. How do you manage that? Then, okay, let's say then you've identified that as an issue and you want to make some improvements. How do you go about that? Again, there's no cookbook, there's no formula. But the first step, I think, clearly is that you focus, and you focus attention, and you create awareness. And you would think that in terms of the human brain, that's kind of simplistic. Simply by bringing it up, simply by focusing on it, that would bring about the desired result. And I'm going to tell you, probably 80% of the time it does. Very often, employees are waiting for the lead. They're waiting for you to tell them where should they focus, where should they put that attention. And so the first step would be the awareness, and then the attention. And through that attention, then ultimately, how do you affect the behaviors? The other thing that I would caution you on, this changing of the culture, changing of the guard, would be requires time and it requires patience, primarily on your part. You can't expect people to change immediately, and people are going to be a little suspicious that if you're, say, a hard and gruff person, and all of a sudden one day you come in all bubbly and happy, they may look at you a little bit funny there. So you